Howdy, and welcome to Friday's edition of Today's Bread. Now, this week we're going over beginnings. Today's portion are the Sabbath and spiritual rest. Our scripture reference is Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, and also Hebrews chapter 4, verses 6 through 11. When God had completed the work of creation, he rested. That's Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. By resting on the seventh day, God was preparing the way for the Sabbath law. And you can see that in Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. The Sabbath rest God would institute was to be a reminder of the deliverance of Israel from Egyptian bondage. You can see that in Deuteronomy chapter 5:15. Now, Christians can observe the Lord's Day to commemorate their spiritual deliverance. Now, it can help believers to stay focused on spiritual issues when we faithfully observe the Lord's Day. The Sabbath rest was intended to provide a weekly day of rest from all work. Now, note this applied to everyone equally, both servants and masters. A day of rest shows practical compassion by allowing servants, foreigners, and even work animals a day of rest. That's Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 14. Now, the Sabbath rest would also serve as a sign of the covenant between God and his people Israel. Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 through 17. This, along with circumcision, Genesis 17, verses 10 and 11, was a powerful reminder that Israel had entered into a covenant with the Lord and enjoyed a special relationship with him. Christians have entered into a new covenant established by Christ. When we are faithful to honor him on the Lord's Day, it is a testimony to others. The Sabbath day of the Old Testament served as a type of the future rest that would be provided for God's people under the new covenant. As important as the Old Testament Sabbath day of rest was, it was only a shadow of the coming spiritual rest that would be given to God's people under the new covenant. Now, in Hebrews chapter 4, verses 6 through 11, the writer noted that God refused Israel entrance into the rest of Canaan because they rebelled against his will. So, as Psalm 95 points out, because of that blatant rebellion, God would not allow Israel to enter the promised land. Notice that Hebrews 4:9 teaches us that there is a rest for God's people today. It begins with salvation through Jesus Christ. It continues and deepens as we appropriate God's rest for our lives daily. Just as the Israelites had to claim their inheritance in Canaan, Christians have to enter into his rest that he has provided for us. We enter his rest through belief and obedience to his word. Thank you, and I pray that you've enjoyed today's edition of Fresh Daily Bread. Now, if any of our posts bless you, please consider blessing others by sharing them. Now, Friday's prayer focus is for the family. Pray for God to strengthen families and increase love within the home. Now, remember, Jesus is coming back soon. So here's Friday's blessing. I bless you to trust in the Lord with all your heart. You will seek his will in all you do, and he will direct your paths.